On July 14th, 2009, a thread was created on 4chan's X board that told the story of a user who stumbled across an old computer featuring an ominous, hour-long video titled Barbie. The footage consisted of a young woman being interviewed, with the final minutes suddenly cutting to a pair of legs walking down train tracks near the 4chan user's location. After investigating the area, an old abandoned house is found. While documenting the home, a loud moan is heard that spooks the poster enough to quickly flee from the building. Afterward, they tried to rationalize what was heard by thinking the sound could have been nothing more than water running through old pipes. But why would an abandoned house still have running water? The video found on the computer was uploaded to YouTube a month later on August 10th by user Xenopasta, chopped into 4 parts, with the third video missing. They're all in poor quality, with the audio being the worst, as you can't make out what the woman is saying. Part 4 is worthy of note, as it seems to tie the story together. The caption, BIID, appears on the screen. BIID is an acronym for Body Integrity Identity Disorder, a rare mental disease in which a person has a desire to amputate one or more healthy limbs that they don't believe fit their mental body image. Halfway through the video, it's revealed the woman is missing an arm, implying she is the one suffering from this disorder. It's not known how exactly the name Barbie fits into the story, but a widely accepted theory is that the connection between those suffering from BIID and Barbie dolls comes from the idea of achieving the perfect version of themselves, customization and all. Even if the original story never mentioned the caption or the fact the woman was missing a limb, but nonetheless, it's still an eerie tale. As the years went by, this story stayed in the minds of those who were intrigued by the videos. Of course, the story was fabricated, but the footage wasn't. No one really knew where to start when it came to investigating this, or who created the whole story, although I wouldn't doubt Xenopasta was the one behind it. Around 2012, a snippet of raw, unedited footage from this interview was found on a Chinese website called Youku. There was no mention of the story in the title, with it simply being labeled Tammy. Although this implied it was the woman's name, it couldn't be 100% proven. This leads us to a forum post created a year later on an amputee website where a screen cap from the video is found, with the woman being identified as Tammy once again. While these two wouldn't be discovered until years later, for the sake of chronology, I am mentioning them first. Most of the investigators throughout this ordeal were from the Russian site Divach, also known as 2chan, where many users took an interest in the story and the identity of the woman. The earliest start I could find is from 2014, but the investigation wouldn't truly begin until November 2016. A year later, photos were found in a magazine featuring a familiar woman who looked all too similar to Tammy. They're dated 1988 and were featured in a supposed amputee magazine called Ampix. As I personally tried to find more information about this magazine, I discovered it never existed. Ampix was just the name of an outfit that regularly sold photos of amputees with annually updated catalogs in magazines before upgrading to a website near the late 90s. Regardless, the team managed to contact a man by the name of Mike Rounds, who had some form of connection to Ampix. Mike reveals the woman's real name is actually Sharon, who went by Tammy and Becky as aliases, and apparently never did any modeling for whatever agency he was a part of, implying that these are two completely different people. This completely puzzled me, as I tried to make sense of it, but thankfully, those behind the investigation would later agree that he was either lying or simply misinformed, as more concrete information surfaced that contradicted his statements. Sometime around 2017, an ominous comment was left under Alvaca97's video discussing Barbie.avi. User Tamara Klein wrote, "This is Barbie. I need help." This would be a big breakthrough in the case, as searching through the user's name can lead you to find a woman who looks all too similar to who we see in the videos, giving the Barbie team undoubtable proof as to who they've been searching for had the correct name this whole time, and that she is still active. On March 3rd of the same year, the investigation was concluded with a 4chan thread created to announce the findings, featuring the raw, unedited interviews, as well as the backstory to how Barbie came to be. Before I get into this, I want to be clear that the dates aren't 100% confirmed, but I do think my arrangement of when these events occurred is fairly accurate. Born in 1966, Tamara Mary Klein, who also went by Tammy, lived the life of an ordinary girl until around the age of 11, when tragedy struck during the usage of an old washing machine. As Tammy was rearranging laundry, the machine suddenly began its spin cycle, wrapping her forearm in a sheet as it was twisted and removed instantly. There isn't much information known as to what it was like adjusting to a new life as an amputee, but it seems Tammy didn't let it bring her down, as she continued to succeed in school, graduating in 1984 and becoming a model for a brief time 4 years later. She seemed to have gotten married during this time, as evidenced by the ring on her finger in the photos, although a divorce likely ensued. 1989 would be the year Tammy had her first interview that is now famously associated with the Barbie.avi story. But even without the edited distortion, it is still difficult to make out what she's saying. Later, another interview was conducted, with a woman named Susan Abbott being the interviewer this time around, and featured in a new setting.
Hello, I'm Kelly, and I'm 20 years old, and I'm an identity industry adult.
This is where everything ends. It's unknown what became of Tammy's life after these interviews, or if there are even more out there, but I don't think it really matters, as Tammy is still alive and well today, with a Facebook account that is active from time to time. Efforts have been made to contact her with no response, which is likely a sign of her wanting to be left alone. Another creepypasta, known as Barbie.avi 2 exists, but it doesn't have any connection to the former, or is even all that known. It tells the story of two sisters who were mysteriously kidnapped by an unknown perpetrator and taken to an abandoned hospital in the middle of a forest. One of the sisters is found near the area, prompting a search to be conducted. Nothing is found in the building, except for a single VHS tape with the inscription, Barbie. If you'd like to read the full story, check out the archive link to the team's website, the main source for all the information I have provided. Great work by everyone involved. The only question I have now is, what exactly did she mean by, I need help?